Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com, and in this video I am going to launch off a new series where I will be creating video episodes for the anti-Candy Crunch source code. So we will go through setting up and submitting to the App Store a new version of our anti-Candy Crunch source code. Now, what is anti-Candy Crunch, you ask? Well, let's get started. Anti-Candy Crunch is one of our source codes, and if you have already bought it, then you already know that you are watching this documentation. But if you don't know what it is, then you can take a look at on our site Rebeloper.com, and you can purchase it two ways. Well, first of all, go to our products page, and there, if you just scroll down and just see our anti-Candy Crunch, the match-free source codes, then there you can purchase it and maybe just take a look at it, what it is and why you should definitely launch a version of it on the App Store. Right? Basically, it's a match for source code. The other way, and that is what most of our clients prefer, is to subscribe to the tribe, our elite membership program, and inside of it you will find along others hundreds of resources, execution plans and source codes, anti-Candy Crunch too. So let me just go here, and as you can see here we have it, Rebeloper Store, anti-Candy Crunch, the match for source code, and you will see all of these videos, and of course you can get your hands on the source code inside the tribe, or if you just purchase it as a standalone source code. Now, if you already done that, go ahead and download the source code from below. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and take a look at this video documentation on how I am going to reskin and set up and finally submit to the App Store this version of anti-Candy Crunch that is anti-cookie crunch. So we are going to modify our source code to be anti-cookie crunch. Now, anti-cookie crunch is already on the App Store, and when I have created anti-Candy Crunch, I have created a video documentation for it. It was in September, I believe. Yes, the release date of this version 1.0.0 was released on September the 12th, 2016. But now, as of version 11.0.3, I believe, then we are going to create a brand new documentation because we have a brand new source code for this game. Now, if you are from YouTube, then please don't leave. Just take a look at the videos because there is a lot to be learned. You will be learning how to set up AdMob and how to set up Chart Boost, and most importantly, how to manage your app in iTunes Connect. So we will be creating in-app purchases, we will be submitting our app to the App Store, and that means that we will be talking about keywords and the description and the title and the subtitle and a lot more, like screenshots and how to tackle in-app purchase problems. So we will be talking all about creating and submitting your version of anti-Candy Crunch to the App Store. So please do stay for this series. Now, in this video, I am going to go through the basics, a whole overview of anti-Candy Crunch, and for that, go ahead and download the version, well, the latest version. I'm going to go through this 11.0.3, so let us just unzip this, and you can take a look at the changelog here. Okay, it is what I am continuously updating on the source code. Of course, here we have our resources and some new resources according to the previous versions. And of course, you can ask for the documentation, but you are already here, so why do that? Okay, now let's go to the project. As you can see, we have a workspace. Okay, let me just make this a little bigger. Here we have our workspace and an Xcode project. Now, because Candy Crunch and most of our source codes are using CocoaPods, you will need to open up our projects through the Xcode workspace. So this one with the white icon. Okay, let's do that. And here it is. Here is our new project already set up for you to modify and upload to the App Store. Now, what you need to be aware of is, let me just close that clutter, is this setup folder. Okay, a setup group. Well, let's call it a folder. In Xcode terms, it's a group. Now, here you have to, or you are optionally advised to change your stuff. Now, let's go through each and every one of them. Well, first of all, here is our display name. Well, this is the info plist file, but let's go over it now. Our bundle identifier that we will just change in just a minute, our version number, our build number. So we will be talking about changing all of this in later videos. Now here we have our launch screen. So let's go through all of the files and folders that we have in our setup, just a rough overview. So here in our launch screen we have our background as a UI image view, and maybe you want to change it, maybe you don't, maybe you want to add your icon here from by using another developer. Go ahead, you can safely edit this launch screen. Remember, the launch screen is the first screen when the user launches your app. So this is a static scene, a static image. Okay, next up we have our images folder, and here we have our grid atlas, and here we have our tiles for the background. Well, the background for our tile set inside Candy Crush. So before we do that, let us just simply launch it and let's see how Candy Crush works. Let's launch it on the iPhone X simulator. Now, here we have our launch screen that I was talking about earlier. And I don't know if you are hearing it, but we have a background music. I will just make it mute for now because it might interfere with the recording of my voice, but we do have music in it, sounds. So first up we have this main menu scene, and in that we have words, and in those words we have 3 words. So if you just tap on them, you can go ahead, and this one, the last one, is for the random level, so you may choose a random level. Okay, let's go back, and if we wanted to go inside, let's say the second word, we would be prompted. Well, we can go and select our 39th level. So let's go back, let's just start from the beginning, and this is our first. And unfortunately, I have already played through them. You can set it up to be open on the first one. Okay, and now let's go back and let's see some settings. And of course, you can rate the app, go to Game Center and mute the sound and the musics here, or unmute it again. So let's enable it. Okay, let's go back to the main scene. And of course we have in-app purchases, because as you can see we already have a test ad from Google's AdMob network. So here we have our banner, and inside that, buried in the scenes, we will be presented with chart boost ads too. But for now, here we have it. stars. You can buy some stars. Well, you can't buy in-app purchases on the simulator, but we will be talking about in depth when we are going to set up these in-app purchases. First of all, now let us just close our shop and let's see our first level. Okay, and here it is. We have a shuffle button, so let's just shuffle our candies here. And the reason why this is such an interesting game is that, first of all, we need to collect rows or columns of cookies, but not 3 cookies. Instead, we need to collect 4 cookies. So let's see here. Let me just take here. And as you can see, moves are allowed even when you don't accomplish the 4 set cookies. So this is quite interesting. This is how you will sell your unique game. This is the selling point of your anti-cookie crunch game. So let me just select this, and as you can see, there was 4 cookies in a row, so we added a plus, and there also was a free cookie row where we well, actually there was a minus. I don't know how much. Let me just see. Yes, minus 50. Okay, and that is the point of our game. You have to collect 4 and not collect 3 cookies. Okay, and here you have the stars that you have already collected, and of course the target score that you need in this level, and you need to collect 1 row of this candy. So let me just go over here, and here we have it, and that target is met. And once we collect enough, let me just collect enough, 260, and maybe 1 here, 340, and now we have 1. Of course, here we have our rating pop-up. This is the basic pop-up that Apple requires, so no more rate my app or other kind of stuff. This is the basic that Apple requires for you to use for rating. So let us choose not now, and here you have your game over seed. Now we have 1. If time went away or we haven't collected enough through our available swipes, then we would have the you lost game over seed. But now we have 1, and we have collected 1 star because of the amount of moves we have used. We might have collected 3 stars if we have made it through less moves. So now we can share it, of course, and this is the basic sharing functionality. And we can of course go to our next level where we have another level set up, and as you can see, this isn't the same because, and I'm not talking about the board, I am talking about the moves. Now we have time, so the time is going down, and when it hits 0, then you have lost if you haven't collected all the targets. And the other one was that it had a certain amount of moves. Okay, what else do we have? Well, if we just go here and tap on this button, then we can simply go back to the main scene, and that is the whole app. In general, we will go into that in the later videos. Now let's go back and take a look at the project. Okay, now before we take a look at the project, I'm going to actually show you another important thing about the levels. So there are 33 levels in one word, so you can go all the way up, and then of course you can do that on the next word too. Now that is it for the walkthrough of our gameplay. Let's just stop this and let's continue our main idea here about the setup file. So we have here our grid atlas, and inside of that you can find all of these grid atlases. You don't necessarily need to change these because these are the backgrounds of our grid when the candies are set up in the gameplay. And here what you do need to change is these sprite atlases, and these are actually the candies or whatever you will think of. So here is our highlighted and our original, well, it is saying it's a croissant, but please do not change these names because they are used by the code, so you will have to replace these images. Okay, and the highlighted means that when it is selected, it's a little stroke, well, maybe a white stroke around the original image to highlight the cookie when it has been selected, when you just simply tap on it or just want to swipe it. Okay, as you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 cookies. And that is all that you need to add. And of course, you can leave this style. This is just for the program, for the code. You can, and by the way, you should leave them. Okay, next up is the levels, and let me just, well, the 0 level is just a sample level. Okay, you don't need to touch it. It is not used by the code. Now the level 1, and make sure you do not change the naming again. You must not change any file names. Okay, this is our tile set, and 1 means that there is a cookie inside of it, and 0 means that there isn't a tile available to be put a cookie in it. And this is how you can construct it. We already have some tiles, so you may use them as they are, and you don't need to ever change these levels, but if you want to, you can. And here we have our target score and how many moves do we have, and here we can ask if is it timed. So if is timed, then we just set it to 1. This isn't timed, this level. Let me show you one that it is. Here we have it, 1. And if it is timed, then here you have to say how many seconds do you have. And of course the collectible target is 1. Let me just show you another one where we have some more numbers. Collectible target means the amount of rows of collections that are needed to be shown, to be collected by the user in order to succeed. That, you know, that one that it was right on the right upper corner of our screen. Okay, let's move on. Here we have our sounds. Don't necessarily need to change them, but it is advisable to change the background music. It is an MP3 file. Okay, next up we have our info plist file. We will dig into that later on. Our Google service, their info plist file, we will create that in a later video, and we will simply remove this one and replace it with your current one. Here we have our font. We will change the font too in a later video. And here we have our assets catalog. Now inside our asset catalog we have our app icon. We will be creating you can create your app icon through various ways, Photoshop or Icon Kit. Just go ahead and search the App Store for your favorite program. Let's take a look at the images here. So we have our, well, first of all, let's take a look at the shared images. As you can see, and if you just kind of count the images, there are a lot less than in the previous anti-Candy Crunch versions, because I have optimized the source code. So now we need to take on this huge challenge of creating all of those designs. Only a few images are needed. So we have our background button blue. Go ahead and take a look at everything. I will talk about in depth when we will do kind of change our images and sounds in a later video. So here we have our images for the gameplay, for the levels, for the main menu, for the settings menu, and for the shop. As you can see, not many images, and that is a good thing because you don't have to pay a lot for your designer. Now, if you do want to hire us, you can, and here is a shameless shout out for our other product. Let me just go here, and if you just select Pablo and open it in a new link, you can take a look at our service for a flat rate, unlimited designs for your app. So you just pay monthly and you can request as much designs as you can. So you will have your very own dedicated designer just for you, working only on your apps. So it is a bargain, $399 per month. It's a subscription and it is a bargain. We have very good reviews and testimonials. Let's just scroll down and see what people say, and maybe take a look at the frequently asked questions. This is one of our most popular products. It is called Pablo, so go ahead, and if you are in need of a designer for your app, we are here for you to help. Now let's go back. And inside Xcode, next up is our setup.swift file. Here we have, well, you have to set up the button font name. We will be covering all of this in detail in later videos. Here you may change, if you want, the alerts background color inside the game. We have our pop-up title color, a lot of colors, and some logic, and of course the chart boost app ID, chart boost signature. This is an ad network, if you don't already know so, and we have our leaderboard ID because Candy Crush uses Game Center too, and of course our app ID that is used for rating, and some little tiny bit of stuff that we will cover in later videos. Next up is our Rebeloper store setup. Now here you will set up your in-app purchase IDs, and we will cover them in depth in the later video that is specifically about creating your in-app purchases in iTunes Connect and then setting it all up inside the code. It is quite simple, but hey, we are creating videos for you, so it will be even more easy to implement. Okay, next up is a smart AdMob constants. Here you will add your IDs for AdMob, and as you can see, there are not a lot, quite a few, because I have already gathered the most important in setup in this constants file. Now here we have our chart boost framework. You don't really necessarily need to change this to the latest chart boost framework. It will work fine, but if you do want to change it, go ahead, you can do that inside here. Next up is our localizable strings file, because as you might already know, Candy Crush can be localized. What that means is that you have a localizable string that is in English, and here you have all the text inside the app, and here you have it in English, and by default I have added Hungarian. Of course you need to change it for that language. We will be covering this in the later video, which covers everything about localization. And of course we have to localize the info plist file, that is the name, the under display name of our app. Okay, and that is it for the setup. In the next video I will be covering images, sounds and fonts. So go ahead and take a look at it in the next video. If you are from YouTube and you are watching this on YouTube and you haven't already purchased Candy Crush, you can do so from our site by selecting the tribe. Again, let's go here. You can simply purchase it from Candy Crush, the match for source code, or just go to our products and you will find them there. Or a better alternative is, and frankly a much cheaper alternative, because you get a ton more besides Candy Crush, is to subscribe to our elite membership that is the tribe. So if you like this and you are on YouTube, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with your friends. Who knows, maybe someone would like to grab their hands, put their hands on Anti-Candy Crunch. And of course, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. But if you are on our membership site and you are watching this, go ahead and download Anti-Candy Crunch from below, from the link. And as usual, I will see you in the next one.